Yes friends, as part of this session we are going to see about multi-threading, which is very important to each and every software engineer. Okay, why? Because all our servers or all our whatever it may be, like web server or application server, are all going to work by using this concept only. They are going to run our applications 24/7, right? So internally they are using this multi-threading concept. Okay, let it be what is meant by a thread. Honestly speaking, we can put a definition for that as like flow of execution. Being as a novice person, I can use this definition, but being as a novice person, I can use a number of definitions, but there will be no endpoint to this one. Even you cannot get satisfied with these things, but if I do discuss about these things in technical way, definitely you can feel very comfort in it. Okay, now let us see about this multi-threading, how it is. It has been implemented in our Java programming language. Okay, so let me put a small definition for thread. What is thread? It's a flow of execution. And number one point which I want to make you guys highlight is, guys, you cannot see the you cannot see the thread, but I can guarantee that you can feel the thread. It's a fiction, it's an imaginary. A thread means it is a flow of execution. To me, this is flow of execution is an appropriate definition, but technically I'll be talking about it in terms of coding only. A full of analysis, a full of coding only we are going to discuss in these sessions. Okay, now, so a thread is a flow of execution. In thread we are having two types of threads. What is that? Lightweight thread and heavyweight thread. It is so simple. Lightweight thread means it is going to consume less memory space. That's it. Than that, don't go for anything. Let us see technically how it has been implemented in our Java programming language. And what is the heavyweight thread? It is going to consume much memory, that is much space in the memory. Okay, than that, nothing to discuss. Now let us go for our multi-threading. What is meant by a thread? A single flow of execution, as I put earlier. Now what is meant by multi-thread or multi-threading? There will be different flows in our application to execute our code. The main aim of this multi-threading is, what do you know? To improve the application performance. Meaning is what? In order to reduce the execution time. If your application is taking 10 minutes, means you have to reduce its execution time to 5 minutes. Then only it is said to be an efficient code. Then only it is said to be an efficient program. Okay, in real, the clients will be asking you to execute the application in milliseconds, guys. It's very, very important to just make you guys understand. It is just to make the beginners to learn it. Let us give chance for others to learn it. Okay, now it is the main aim is what? To improve application performance. Okay, performance in the sense what? Less execution time. Expecting the output with less time is just the performance. Okay, now with less time. Okay, now, okay, let me put those things aside. Okay, now think that we are having one Java code here. What is the class name? It is like multi. Okay, and of course we can take lower cases, and even the first letter can be also what? A lower case thing. And also I can take even here as what? Underscore dollar thread also I can take here. Why? Even the class name is an identifier, right? According to our Java, we are having some constraints. What is that? If you go for any MNCs, the class names will be like this only. If you are facing any interview, means there will be the class name in this way, and if you go for any competitive exam, the class names will be in this way only. No need to get confused. Okay, let me put that one aside. See here, guys, think that this is a piece of code. In main method I have 1 lakh lines of code. 1 lakh lines of code. And if I want to execute this piece of code through JVM, in term JVM is going to take the help of main thread. Okay, single thread. It is going to take the help of single thread. So it consumes a time of 10 minutes to execute this piece of code. Okay, 10 minutes time to execute this piece of code. See here, I want to reduce the time taken to execute this piece of code to 5 minutes. How I can do that one? Programmatically, technically, how we can do that one? So for that I am going to depend upon this concept which is called as multi-threading. Guys, without this introduction, if I go for any other thing, definitely you will be in tragedy. You will not understand anything. I am sure that many of guys are in pit about this multi-threading. Let me cover that one. Okay, it's very, very important. Okay, now See here, think that we are having 1 lakh lines of code. Now here I want to reduce the execution time to 5 minutes or whatever it may be, less than 5 minutes or less than 3 minutes, whatever the time it may be, but I am going to reduce the execution time which is less than this 10 minutes, because which is prior to the prior execution time. Okay, now think that in this piece of code, that is in 1 lakh lines of code, we are having first 50,000 lines of code are independent part of other 50 lines of code which is having no dependency, meaning that there are two missions. First mission input and output is not depending upon second mission input and output. Those are independent parts. Both the humans are working, or both the machines are working independently without taking any others help, right? So if like think that if there are two missions like M1 and M2, so M2 and M1 are completely independent on each other. They are not at all depending upon any other. They are independent. Okay, but of course they are having some inputs and some outputs. They are having some inputs and some outputs. Okay, and those inputs and outputs are also not depending on each other. Okay, those are completely independent. Okay, now so if that is the case, what can I do? Means I can execute that first independent 50,000 lines of code separately by using another thread, and other 50 lines of code by using another thread. So this is called as what? Multi-threading. How we can do create this one? Technically how to speaking, then only you will understand, otherwise you will not understand. Let me make it very clear. The first thing I have said in this session is what? You cannot see the thread, but I can guarantee that you can feel the threads. It's an imaginary, it's a fiction thing, but I will make you guys to feel that thread. Okay, no need to worry, everything we'll be discussing here. Okay, now see here, I know that first 50 lines of code are independent part of this one, other 50 lines of code. So what I am going to do here, of course it is an independent, right? I am going to put that 50,000 of code in one service. Let it be a method in our Java. So what I am going to do here, the same piece of code, nothing changed, just the structure is going to get changed. That's it guys, don't need to get worry and no need to get confused. Okay, these 50 lines of code, let it be this piece of code, let it be as A. Okay, and this piece of code, let it be as B. Okay, now it is an independent, right? I am going to execute that piece of code concurrently, parallelly. See, honestly speaking, okay, this is what our agenda, right? This is what our agenda. I have to reduce the time taken for this particular piece of code less than 10 minutes, right? Okay, let it be. Before going to this one, I want to make one point clear. And what is the other point? We are having two independent parts, that is first 50 lines of code are internally depending upon in that 50,000 lines of code, and other 50 lines of code is not depending upon prior 50,000 lines of code, that is starting from 1 to 50,000. Okay, now so let me put how our Java program is executing in real. What happens when you put Java and some corresponding main method class name at command prompt? What is happening there? Okay, now let me tell. Think that you put like this. Okay, multi hyphen dollar thread. Okay, now this is the corresponding dot class file name for the main method which is available in this class. Okay, I have compiled the code. Bytecode has been generated by the compiler. Now I want to run it to see the results, in order to check my logic, in order to check my analysis, how does it work. Okay, now see here. So what is going to get happen means definitely you will be writing like this, right, at command prompt. Of course, what is this Java? Honestly, it is what? A binary executable file name, right? Whenever you do install your JDK, you will be getting what? Java, Java-C and some other what? Binary executable files along with JDK, which will be available at our bin folder. That's very, very important. Okay, now so whenever the OS encounters this Java, it will go and it will check in its path or in its environmental variables whether there is a particular path for this Java, that is binary executable thing. If it is available, then it will go to that directory and it will check for that Java. If it is available, the OS is going to execute that particular Java. What internally Java is meant? It is JVM, honestly speaking. Internally, there only, we don't know. Everything has been dumped. Even if you do double click, we cannot see. That's why we have to learn the hidden things, okay? Not the things which are ready-made to us, okay? That's what the power of a software engineer. You have to be very good in analysis, okay? Okay, let it be. Now, you just try to understand this one. What is this? Java. So, internally, it is what? A JVM. So, internally, what is going to get happen? Let us see this one. Now, the counter, and now the turn for the JVM has been come. Who is executing JVM? I mean, by whom JVM has been executed? By OS, okay? By our OS, okay? Let it be. Honestly speaking, by our processors, okay? Now, Java has been executed. Now, what the JVM is doing? So, JVM has been started here. Guys, JVM started, okay? Now, what is this? JVM will create the main thread. Honestly speaking, don't get confused with these two terms, guys. Main thread, okay? Main thread, okay? And in multi-threading, we can customize the names. That is, you can give for the flow of execution your own names. As I said earlier, you cannot see the flow of execution. It's the imaginary, it's the fiction. But I can guarantee that I can make you to feel that particular flow of execution. I will tell, see. Okay, this main thread name is what? They have customized. Who is calling the main thread? I mean, who is calling the main method? Honestly speaking, let me know one thing. You're just writing what? Java multi-thread, right? How your code is getting executed here? Meaning that JVM is internally calling your main method by passing what? One dimension string array, right? Right? Is that correct? Try to focus, guys. About all these we are going to cover in our language fundamentals. No need to worry, okay? We are coming from the scratch. No need to worry, okay? You can start from 0 level. No need to worry, okay? Now, so they have customized. See here, when the main thread is going to get start means when the JVM starts, immediately JVM is going to create the main thread. For that thread, it is going to create a runtime stack. What is a stack? It's a very good data structure which is having last in first come policy. What is that? Last in first come policy, guys. It is having, see, whatever the compiler programs or whatever the execution it is, whatever the interpreter related program, everything will be done based on this stack data structure. Learn it. It's very, very important. If you want to be as a very good engineer, that is in IT, you have to be good in these things, okay? Now, so now what has been created? One stack has been created. So each record in the stack, it is what? A runtime stack, okay? It is what? A runtime stack. So internally what it is? It is an array, honestly speaking, right? But what we are having a policy which is called as last in first come policy. No need to worry, okay? Now, so here, okay, let it be. So runtime stack has been created for whom? Main thread, okay? That is very, very important, okay? Runtime stack for main thread, okay? Okay? Now, try to understand this one. So it has been created one main thread for that particular main thread, okay? Sorry, runtime stack for the main thread. Now, what is happening here? Main thread locates the dot class file. You have given the dot class file name, right? Of course, you didn't give the corresponding dot class file name along with this name, right? You didn't give, but what you are writing there? You are writing the main method corresponding class name, but not main method corresponding class with dot class name. Okay, try to understand. It's very important. Pure basics. We are going to discuss all this in fundamentals. Okay, now what is going to get happen after it finds it is going to load that particular dot class file. If that class file is not available there, means it is going to give no class def found error. Okay, that's very important according to 1.6 version. If it is like above 1.6 version, means it is going to give could not find or load the main method, please define main method. Okay, that will be the error at runtime. Okay, now, so after loading the dot class file, okay, after loading the dot class file, then the main thread, now the main thread, honestly speaking, it is an imaginary. It is what? An imaginary thing. It is what? An imaginary thing. But I will show you, I will give the proof to you. I am going to make you guys feel about it. Without this knowledge, you cannot understand the multi-threading from the scratch. You have to be very good in it. If it is like any product based companies, they will be making you to work in multi-threading projects. Okay, it's very important. Okay, now, so main thread locates the dot class file and it loads that into the memory. After that, the main method execution starts. How the main method execution starts means, let me tell it. Main method execution starts. How it is going to start means, it will put whatever the implementation available in the main method in one activation record or in one frame. Each and every entry in a stack is called as what? activation record or a frame. Okay, now think that it is main method. Okay, now our code has been loaded. What is this? 1 lakh lines of code has been loaded, guys. Okay, it has been loaded. Now it has been loaded. Now it is going to get executed by whom? Main thread. Okay, and one more thing, main thread name has been, okay, who is starting the main thread? Are we starting the main thread? Of course we are writing this particular statement, but internally who is creating the main thread? Our JVM, right? Java Virtual Machine is starting that particular main thread, and it has customized the thread name. What is that thread name? Is main. Okay, don't get confused. And there is one more terminology here for main thread. What is the parent thread means? Main only. We are having system group, that is thread group. For that we are having 5 contributors. What is that? Main thread group, signal dispatcher, attached listener, finalizer, and reference handler are the some of the thread groups which are being contributor for this system thread group. In thread group we are going to discuss that one in detail, no need to worry. But one thing you have to understand is main thread name has been customized to main. Okay, and this main is having what? Okay, let me put this in this way so that it will be very good to you. Okay, and this main thread is having one parent. What is that parent name? Main. Okay, main. Actually it is one thread group. Okay, so it will be having the combination of threads and also the thread groups. We are going to see that one in detail in thread group. Okay, now what is this? Main is what, and also what is main? It is parent. Don't get confused with these two names. It's very, very important. If you get confused, then I'm sure you cannot understand the further coming concepts. Okay, try to understand, try to utilize this thing. Okay, now main thread name has been customized to main, and its parent thread is what? Main. Okay, it is a thread group. Okay, it is going to contain, see, if you want to start any other threads in our multi-threading concept, you have to do that by using main thread only. So that's why it is called as main thread group. Okay, we will see that one. Okay, now still I am discussing this piece of code only with one flow, that is with using only main thread only. Main thread is executing the main method. Okay, now try to understand this one. So now it has been loaded and now it has been executed by our main thread. Okay, it is taking how much period of time? 10 minutes. Okay, but I want to reduce the time. Okay, now 10 minutes was there. Okay, now put it aside. Now what is going to get happen after completing the main method execution? This runtime stack is going to get destroyed, or it will get perish, or it will get vanished by our JVM. Later the main thread is going to come into the dead state. Later our JVM goes into the shutdown mode. But here in this part, between these two things, there is one mystery happening. We have to know that one. What is that mystery? Let me know it. Okay, it's very important. Think that we are having 1 lakh lines of code. Okay, and inside this one I put what I'm doing here. So it is an independent part of code, right? Honestly speaking, just I'm changing this piece of code, guys. This piece of code. Okay, I'm taking one static method. Okay, static void m1. Okay, in that I'm taking this a part. What is that? First 50,000 lines of code which is being independent of other 50,000 lines of code in our program, right? That is in our class called as multi_$thread, right? Now I put like this. Okay, now think that this entire piece of code was not there. Instead of that one, what I have done? I am calling a m1 method. Honestly speaking, which is going to get executed by our main thread. Only the main method is going to get executed. Our actual program execution is going to start from the main method. You have to call some other methods in main method only. In turn, you can make other methods to call other one. Okay, I will show you. This is what called as the chaining theme. We will discuss this thing. Okay, now try to understand this one. So if I put like this and if I call m1 method, so this entire thing has been replaced with m1 method, right? M1 method, right? Try to understand. It has been replaced with m1 method only, right? Now this one is not there. Okay, now main method has been loaded. So how the main method has been loaded? Just I'm introducing the concepts. Try to understand this one. Now of course there will be 1 lakh lines of code, but m1 method is replacing the first 50,000 lines of code, right? Now of course I'll put this one as what? 50,000 lines of code. Okay, try to understand, guys. Now here what we are having? M1 method. So M1 method is what here? It is having first 50,000 lines of code. It's very, very important. Okay. Now what is happening here? This point is very, very important, guys. Try to observe that one. Okay. Now it is calling M1 method. So it has to load the implementation. That is the method body. It has to load into what? It has to load this into one other activation record or other frame in the stack. So what is going to get happen here? For M1 method also, it will create one activation record and it will load even that piece of code here. Okay, it is having some 50,000 lines of code. Now here try to observe, it's very, very important. At 9,000th line, okay, at 9,000th line, why I am introducing this one is very, very important. Then only you will understand this multi-threading, I am sure. Okay, now at 9,000th line there is one exception raising code there. Let it be like unchecked exception itself. Okay, let it be like division by 0 itself. To make you guys understand this concept, let me put like this itself. Okay, it is in SOP. Okay, now or else I am assigning this 10 by 0 value to whom? It is what? Indefinite form. We are having some 8 indefinite forms, right? Infinity by infinity, 0 by 0, 1 by 0, all these things. We are having some 8 infinite forms. Okay, undeterminate forms. Okay, now let it be like int I is equals to 99 by 0. Okay, 99 by 0. Okay, now so whenever the JVM executes this piece of code, what is that? See here, the control has been started from here, but because of M1 call inside main method, the call is going to this one now. Okay, guys, if you want to be good in this analysis, means you have to go with memory representations. Otherwise, no go. You cannot learn this subject. Okay.